What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome
Let's
to
go.
another edition of the Building Bridges podcast. And tonight, I have some special brothers with me tonight. Oh, man. These brothers are literally my brothers. They are who I call my brothers. And they are, hold tight 1 second here, because I just want to make sure everything is right at home for our public, if you will. And things are looking good. We are officially live. Um, Again, my two brothers, Demetrius Young, Patron Baker. I know on the flyer it says D Young and P Baker, but these are my brothers. These are my family. These are the brothers that I grew up with. Tron, obviously, since about 8 years of age, and then Meech a couple years later. All right. And man, I'm gonna let y'all introduce yourselves and tell the people a little bit about yourself. Take about 30 seconds, and you can say whatever it is you want to say, and then we're gonna get right into this thing because it's important. The holidays are here, and for a lot of people, you just don't always seem to be happy during this time. Oh man, we got a special guest that just popped on, man. Oh my gosh. All right, let's start with my brother Meech here. We gonna let him jump on. And Meech, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, Hello, good evening, everyone. Again, as Norman said, Demetrius Young, married, two kids. Known Norman and Patron about almost 30, 32, 33 years now.
Yeah.
Uh, Been a police officer for approximately 30 of those years. Well, Jesus, we've been friends longer than that.
Yeah, man.
I got on
Absolutely,
a
man.
job right out of high school. But I'm here to speak and relay any information I can and how the holidays are going. Without certain family members, my little brother who passed away last year of COVID, and how we're dealing with it, and every
Right.
day how hard it is, and lost a lot of family members from 30 to 35. A lot of our family members have died over the past couple of years, and I'm just here to
Absolutely.
relate to that and talk on that. But if any
All right.
questions anybody want to ask, feel free.
That's what's up. All right, next we're gonna talk about Tron. Mike, I know you there because I see you. Just hold tight, brother. We got a special guest that wasn't on the flyer. Just hold tight. All right, my boy Tron, what's up? Tell the people a
Uh,
little bit about you, man.
Good evening. My name is Patron Baker. I just recently married, newlywed, no children as of yet. Uh, Currently work in DC, but I live in Virginia. I used to work on Wall Street for like 12 years. Came down to Virginia, contract analyst for Department of Youth Rehabilitation Services. Um, I got adjusted to country life. But I do love DC. But I love New York uh, more. Um,
All
um,
right.
I'm just kind of on here, just to uh, give my 2 cents about my experience, and
Right.
hopefully whatever the conversation brings up to help anyone who's listening, or just share in this time on this event. For me, it's not even like, we're talking on the internet. I'm talking to my family, my brothers. We've been through a lot together. This is just another chapter of events we're going through. And I think Meets, you were being a little coy, but I think we've known each other longer than that. Uh, we known each other longer
Yeah.
than that. So, you guys mean the world to me. Um, I'm still upset, Meet, you wasn't at my wedding, but I digress. But
It's all good, man.
it was COVID, so it is what it is.
This is
Uh,
true.
I love you guys. So
Love you
let's
too,
let's
man.
go.
All right,
Let's
let's
go.
now we got a special guest, man. Let's talk about this young man right here, Michael A. Saunders.
Michael
What's up,
A.
brother
My
Mike?
Song.
wow,
Here
look at
we
the
go.
full beard.
Okay,
The
What
full
Mike.
up?
beard.
Y'all hear me?
What's up? Yeah, we hear you, man.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear
We
you.
hear
All
you.
right.
You
My name Mike
good.
Saunders. I've been knowing Tron probably the longest, then Norman, then Meech. I've been knowing Tron since I was 5.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right there on the corner of Saratoga Jose, I'll never forget. You was watching buses go by.
That to yourself, man. I'm just here to talk about, how Christmas ain't the same, and I was the first one to move to Virginia out of most of us,
Right.
because my mother is from Virginia, and so it just ain't been the same, and I guess we'll get into that when everybody else go.
Right. Understood, Mike, man. We appreciate you, man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, for everybody that's watching, the 4 men that you see on the screen right now, it's a special bond between these men right here. And I'm blessed. I'm thankful to have them in my life. We all do different things as far as our professions. We all have different standings in what we bring to the table as far as our family lives, the things we've done in the past. Everybody has their group of friends that they grew up with, and then they also have a group of people that they've grown a little bit older with. And so we ain't no different. We just 4 brothers from the projects, right? And I don't have no problem saying that, because it is part of our past, it's part of our history, it's part of what made us who we are today. And so I just want to get right into this thing, because we know that the holidays are supposed to be a great time. It's supposed to be a good time for everybody. But the truth of the matter is that that's not always the case, right? And as we get older, that becomes more and more true, because of the fact that you get older, family members pass, you got different things. Hey, what's going on, Karen? What's going on, Jill? Appreciate y'all watching. Sister Waller. Y'all share this video, because we're gonna get deep a little bit. And the one thing that I love as we get older is that things change in our lives, right? I happen to be married 28 years, 2 children, 4 grandchildren now, right? And so life is evolving, and my family is growing, right? But at the same time, my family is also shrinking at the same time, because we have death in our families, right? We have friends and coworkers, or whoever it is that may pass. This episode tonight, The Holidays Don't Always Equal Happiness, is a continuation from my audio podcast that I just released last week, and talking about the same subject, but it's just me talking. And one thing that we don't always seem to put on Front Street are people that's incarcerated. All right. They're missing out on things too. Right? They're missing out. Has nothing to do with the crime that they may have committed or may not have committed, but they're also missing out on life. Their family members are home watching and wishing they could be with them for whatever reason. But there are so many different ways that we could not be together with our families. And there are brothers and sisters that are in jail right now that wish they could be home. Trust me, I guarantee you they're kicking themselves because they did something, or maybe they just got caught up in something. But either way, they want to be home. But on the flip side, there are people at home that wish those family members could be back home. And so don't worry about Mike. We lost Mike. He'll probably come on back in here. But Meech, as a police officer, right? I wanted to ask you about that specifically, dealing with the family members of people that's incarcerated, and maybe they did something wrong, maybe they didn't, whatever the reason is. Can you just explain just a little bit about what you deal with on a daily basis, especially during this time of the year when family members are looking and wishing they can see their families?
Wow. This time of year, dealing with the crime setting, with everything that's going on in New York, you have so many kids out there making bad decisions, and a lot of the decisions these kids make, it's altering their whole life. I have arrested a lot of people over my almost 30 years in law enforcement. A lot of people. I have met with family members, parents, grandparents crying to me. It's hard and difficult with everything they're going through, but in some aspects, with the job I do, I see it as some of them putting themselves there. When we was growing up, we had an opportunity that we could have went left, we could have went right on that fork, and we could have ended up the same way, and we didn't. A lot of these kids don't choose the right path. Um, it's just, I don't know, it's the beast that we're dealing with now. I
Right.
hope that answered it, the best I
Yeah,
could.
yeah, absolutely, Meech. I think about situations like that because everyone that knows me, that knows the Norman today, how about that? Let me say that knows the Norman today, my entire life, right, obviously is centered around Jesus Christ. But with that being said, it's also me every single day looking to help somebody. How can I impact somebody else's life? How can I get a smile on somebody's face? I was on the phone today with a travel agent. I was changing up for work, and I was changing one of my reservations. And literally, I just told the lady, she sounded like she was so stressed. And I said, "Look, you have a choice, ma'am, to be happy today. No matter what phone calls you get, no matter what comes your way, you have a choice on being happy today. Whether you like the phone calls that come through, whether the people are cursing at you, whatever they're doing, you still have a choice to be happy. It's your job, you deal with it, but you do have a choice. Um, so that's just me in a nutshell. And so for the people that are watching that at home, I ask you to just continue to pray for me because I want to make sure that when I talk to people, whether they're somebody that I know, whether it's somebody that's a stranger, I want to make sure that I'm giving them the best absolute information that I can give them. I want to make sure that the impression that they have of me when they walk away is like, hey, I didn't know that guy, but hey, he was pretty cool. He said something nice to me and he smiled, or he helped me with something, and that's what I want to be. That's part of my legacy that I'm looking for. Tron, I want to jump in here with you, and I'm just gonna start, man. We just gonna get this thing on. Our little brother, but your blood brother, Corey, right?
Right.
He passed. I want to get it right. It was 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And can you just talk to us a little bit, man? There are people at home right now that are dealing with loss, and how has it been, right? In the very beginning versus now, when Corey passed, and how you dealt with it, and was it hard? And here's the thing: before you answer that, everybody deals with death differently. So depending on who you are, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more too, because of how I deal with it. But everybody deals with death in a different way. Can you just talk a little bit about how it was then, and then how you feel now? Has anything changed, especially during the holiday time?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that had to be. I mean, someone's lost someone in their lives, but for me, the loss of my younger brother was devastating to me because we've always done and shared things together, and we went through life together. Whatever I was going through, he was going through. We always had each other to lean on, and although we had other brothers or even family members, we were very tight knit. Um, honestly, it was. They say you get over it, but honestly, you don't. You just try to deal with it better. And I think for me, um, his children will never get to know the man I knew. He had, upon his passing, he had two two daughters, two sons. One literally was just born 2 months before, and so that's four children um, that will never get to have their dad come walk them down the aisle or teach them how to ride bikes. So for me, how I deal with it, honestly, I pour my love into them, and everything um, I give them or say to them, I make sure I say, "This is from me and your dad. This is what your dad would have said." Like every conversation, I let them know that their dad loved them immensely. And I just try to keep that going, that his memory is never forgotten. Um, I'm literally in 2 days going down to Florida every Christmas. I make sure I make it down there. So their Christmas are beautiful Christmases, because coming up, uh, my brother and I Christmas weren't that great. So, but I made sure that when we had children, that they would never face Christmases like we had. So I always try to make sure their Christmas is above
Right.
and beyond. So I look forward every year to this time of year to be down there with them, or just speak to them on the phone, encourage them, speak highly favor of them, speaking visions into them, uh, asking about their schoolwork, just pouring as much love as I can into their souls, um, so they know who their dad was.
Right.
Because unlike them, they lost their father to an accident. My brother and I, our father chose not to be in our lives, and that hurt us.
Right.
So I definitely wanted them to have like a male figure in their lives who they can trust, and you know, not just monetary or just educational. When I go down there, I'm teaching them how to ride bikes. I'm teaching them how to drive. I'm teaching them school, or what it is. I think a father figure should do, and
Right.
I make sure they're not missing it. So I think me pouring my love into them is how um, I make up for his loss.
Man, I definitely appreciate that, because um, you know, we try to do the things that, like you said, you try to do, and you try to say some things that you think Corey will want to say, or how he
Mhm.
would act, or the types of gifts he might buy them, the things he would do, right? And let's face it, right? If sometimes you got to step in and chastise because they ain't
Mhm.
doing right, sometimes you got to do
Mhm.
that too, right?
Very
And
true.
you know, and I think that's just so important for us to do as men in general, right? And I want to be clear, and everybody knows me. I Race doesn't play a factor in what I do and how I speak to people, but as men in general, we should be doing more of that, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
came from a generation, I mean, literally, we ain't talking that far now. We ain't that old, right? But our mothers could say something to every one of us if we got out of
Yeah.
line,
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
They
I
could.
still I was gonna say, I just want to add, I remember when Mike mom came chasing us, we were fooling around. Mike mom came with the belt. Mike was chasing, Mike was chasing us. So all our mothers, or even Miss Young, Meech mom, always giving me advice. If my mom have a problem, go to Miss Young house. So
Right.
and even your mom's very inspirational. Miss Murray. It's just we can all relate to each other's mothers as our very own, and we respected every word that they said, and that's why we're brothers now.
Right.
Because of how we came up.
Absolutely. And so I got to move to Mike right now. My man Mike. First of all, Mike, bottom of my heart, brother, I appreciate you, man, for jumping on, man. I know um this isn't your lane. I'm gonna say that, right? This is, you know, it's an uncomfortable situation, and I just appreciate it, because in life, though, we do have to go through situations where we got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And so I thank you for being on here with us. And so just moving right into you, very similar question, Mike. Um, little bro Courtney, right? We talked. Some of the things that we have, before I get to that question, some of the things that we have in common, our commonalities, they all shift in different ways, right? Meech and I and Mike, we've lost our dads, right? Uh, the three of you have
Lost,
have lost a
lost
brother.
brothers.
You know what I mean? So it's different commonalities. and we've all known every single one of those individuals, right? So it's not like we didn't know the people, we didn't know your parents, or we didn't know your brother. We knew them, right? So, but speaking directly to you, Mike, how has it been for you since the loss of your brother, and how have you dealt with it? And how are you dealing with it now? Now Christmas is here, and this is a time where we reflect and try to get together as family. How has it been for you?
Well, no, like this is breaking up and it's staticky, so I think I understand what you said, but for me it's different. Because Christmas was never the same because I lost my father at 18. And so there were times where, you get out of school, y'all know my grandmother, she would come over and start cooking. Then my mother would get home, then my dad would get home. Then they would all listen to music, cook, have fun. And then we would wake up, open your toys and your gifts. And then we would go to Tron and Corey house, take our toys up there, and then we would eat at their house, and they would come eat at our house. So after my dad passed, stuff wasn't the same. My grandmother, she still would come over, but she would always cry, and and kind of made everybody sad. But I also had y'all as a family too. Because a lot of people don't know, Christmas Eve, we would all go shopping for our parents. And then Christmas night, we would go to the movies in the 42nd Street and play video games and And so like growing up in 30 to 35, I had two families, so I really depended on y'all when my dad passed. And so that kind of helped ease things a little bit. But then, everybody grow and everybody, move and got older and stuff. So when I moved to Virginia, it got really, really hard because Christmas, I didn't really, it was just a day. I was still thankful, for my moms and my family there, but it just wasn't the same. And so then when my mom passed, and it just really wasn't the same. And then I had my son, so that was a great blessing because I got to see him grow, and it was just it brought excitement back because he was young. You buy gifts and you can't wait to see the kids open it. You can't wait to see them play with it, and help them put together the toy stuff like that. And then Courtney passed, and that was shocking because it came out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere. But and at one time I had called Tron and asked him how he deal with it, and he says I asked him, I said, would you ever get over it? And he said, no, you don't. You don't ever. And so I guess that's me in a nutshell right there.
Right. Mike, I really appreciate you. Like I said, man, this isn't your thing, man, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for opening up, man. I love my brothers, man. I love my brothers from the bottom of my heart, man. I wish I could have everybody on here. And again, this is a continuation because I know I got some people on here that have listened to my podcast, the audio podcast, and it's a continuation. And I shared about my dad. Hey, Sister Marletta and Miss Love Destiny. That's what I'm gonna call you right now, since that's the name you got on Facebook. God bless y'all. I appreciate y'all for joining us tonight. But I was sharing about my dad and when he passed. And this is the next segue, right? Because all of us fit this category. Holidays come around and you can't make it home. Holidays come around, another family member can't make it home because of whatever reason. They're away in the military, they're in jail, they just live in a different state, right? And all of us live in a different state from where we grew up. Now, it just so happened, for the people watching at home keeping score, the three of us without our glasses on, because we all wear glasses, but the three that's not wearing glasses actually live in Virginia. All right. The other one is in New Jersey. So, but there are times where when I moved, I originally moved to Minnesota, right? You know, I know I lived in Florida and some other places, but when we went to Minnesota, it was like the only time we was coming home. It was during the holiday season. It was during Christmas. I would take 2 weeks off and take Christmas and New Year's, but it was rough even during the course of the year without it being the holidays, not being able to get home on a regular basis. And when my dad passed away, it was just prior to Christmas. He passed away on December 5th. And I can remember my first grandchild was just born in October. And we were so excited. We was ready to, plan to go home for Christmas. And he was going to see his first great grandchild. And we had talked. We talked once a week. And this 1 week we didn't talk because he had passed away. And it took a minute for me to deal with that because I had to go home. And because when that time is happening, it seems like you don't have the proper time to mourn, right? Because you're trying to get services together. You're trying to do 1,000,001 different things. Plus, now that I don't live there no more, I'm also trying to make sure I got a place to stay with mom, and I'm running over here. I don't have my own car, so I got to borrow a car. All these different things are happening. But I just remember just being away from home, and just at one point I was like, man, I wish I would have never left, right? There was a small piece of guilt there that was like, maybe if I would have stayed, this wouldn't have happened, right? And I could just remember just like, man, I wish I was home. Maybe this wouldn't have happened. And, but that's not what God had planned. And so I had to deal with that and cope with that. And so yes, Bishop Davis, yes, death comes with adjustments. Absolutely. And thank you. Shelby says she's sending her prayers to all of us, y'all. So
Thank you.
I appreciate everybody that's online right now with the comments. I want to share with you guys before we finish the conversation, because I don't want this to get away. The one thing, and I will tell the people at home, yes, I'm an ordained deacon. Yes, I'll be a minister soon at some point in time, right? And I live for God. I live for God. I die. It's all about Jesus Christ. All about Jesus Christ. And every one of these young men here know that about me. The one thing I also do not do is I don't press, I don't push, I don't preach to y'all and tell you, oh, this, you're going to do this and you go to that. But when we talk, you know where I stand and I know where you stand. But I would be remiss if I didn't share something with you about the word of God, because everything about building bridges in Norman Murray is about God, right? And so we're talking about this holiday time and talking about being able to cope with some different things and be able to move forward. And I want to share that with you tonight. One of the things that, and honestly, Tron, you might not remember this, but even at Corey's funeral, this is part of the scriptures that I read that particular day. These scriptures have helped me deal with and cope with death in a way that I did not ever believe that I could. All right. And I just bear with me and let me read, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And these scriptures are Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. And I want y'all to try to pay attention. I know some of y'all are on your cell phones, but if you can see it, I'm just going to read it out. And even for the people at home. All right. And the scriptures read this way: to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep. I got to pause. It's okay to cry, brothers. It's okay to emote. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm hurting right now and I need help. It's okay to be like, you know what? I'm not okay right now. It's a special time in my life. It's something going on, and it's okay. A time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast stones away, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend, a time to show, to sow, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. These scriptures, these words have been instrumental in me dealing with death, dealing with loss of loved ones, of family members, of friends, just everything. But I want to let you know that there's encouragement within these scriptures, because although you may have read or heard me say a time to die, a time to kill, a time to weep, a time to mourn, also in the same scriptures, it says a time to heal. And we need time to heal. And I know people say, "Oh, time heals all wounds." And while I agree with certain aspects of that, depending on who you are, depending on what the thing that you're healing from is, it doesn't just work across the board, is what I'm saying. Because time, if you allow it to, can destroy some things in your life too. But it also says it's a time to laugh. So it's all right for us to get together and laugh and have a good time, a time to dance. It's all right to move a little bit, a time to love, and a time of peace. And brothers, what I want to tell you, that maybe I should say more. In order to achieve the laughter, in order to achieve the love, in order to embrace all of that, in order to get peace, all of that is in Jesus. That's where it's at. That's my belief. That's what I know. That's my experience. And so as we continue to move forward through life, I would be wrong if I didn't share that with you all, to let you know how I felt about what it is that can continuously help us and move forward in things in life. Because whether it's death, whether it's a loss of a house, whether it's a loss of a job, these things will lead to depression. These things will lead to unhealthy relationships. But in order to navigate that, all I'm saying is to consider. Not saying you have to do anything, but consider. If you look at my life, I look at myself and go, I should be dead from some of the things that we dealt with in the streets, with some of the things that I dealt with in my condition, with my heart. I should be gone. And I'm blessed. And you know what, Meech? I don't know if I've ever said it publicly, but I'm going to say it now. We got into some stuff when we was younger. And this man here, Meech, D. Young, took a knife for Tron.
Saved my life. Saved my life.
Literally pushed him out the way, pushed us out the way, and took a knife. Now, whether he meant to do it, whether he knew it was going to happen, whatever it was, the point is that he had enough love. And now, of course, that's how the devil worked, or make him go off screen, right? Literally did that for us. You know what I mean? And we've been there for each other in so many different ways over the years. Mike, I don't know if I could ever explain to you the level of love and respect that I have for you when you asked me to deliver the eulogy for your brother. That was such an honor. I was blown away by that when you and your aunt called me. And I just want y'all to know that I'm here, that we're here for each other. We have to continue to be here for each other. And Meech, I know you dropped off, and we were just thanking you, brother, just for your selfless act. And then it turns out now you're a police officer, right? And so now you're still out there doing the job and helping people. right? Thanks a lot, Sister Karen. Karen says your sincere condolences going to you and your family, Mr. Baker.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So I talked a lot, and I want to give y'all an opportunity to ask me a question. How about that? How about that? I'll flip the script because I know Tron got something to say. Come on.
Well, honestly, we all talk, but my questions can be directed either Norm, Mike, Meech. I mean, well, first off, you guys are my heart. Yeah, my boys, my friends, my cousins, y'all, all of that. But Norm, I want to ask you, um, from who you were, who we knew who you once were, um, to now, um, and it's all up, and it's all blessing, is all great. How did you know in your mind you make? When was that point in your life where you said, "I'm going to make that change of, being, for lack of a better word, reckless to the Lord"? That's the
Nah,
best
that
way.
you know what? That's a fair question, and it's accurate. It's accurate because I was reckless, right?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna answer that straight up for you. We were in that. I've always known. I just kind of shied away from it. But there was a time we were sitting in Minnesota, and everything was great. Mika was upstairs, and the kids were doing what the kids were doing, and I literally was sitting in the living room, and I was like, man, there got to be something more to life to this. There's got to be something else. There's something missing from my life. There's something missing from my life. I was doing well. I was on my job, had 2 cars, had everything I needed to live as a human, right? I had all the things that I needed, but there was something missing, right? My son was about to have a child, and everything was great, but there was something. There was a void. There was a void in my life, and that void, the thing that filled my heart, was Jesus. And I was in Minnesota, and I remember calling my mother. That's right, men. I called my mother and said, "Mom, I don't know what it is, but I'm there's something going on with me, and I don't know what it is." And so I said, "I think I need to go to church." And we got on the phone and we kind of looked up some churches. I was in Minnesota, and I found a church, and I went to the wrong church. And it turned out to be the perfect church. It turned out to be the right church, because God had a plan for me that I didn't understand, right? Because here I am thinking that I'm moving to Minnesota for my career, because that's what it was. I got a promotion and I moved. And I uprooted my family and moved to Minnesota. But little did I know was that that's where God wanted me to be saved. That's where God changed me completely around. And that's when I committed. See, that's the difference, Tron. I committed. I surrendered. And that's where I repented again. I did what Acts 2:38 says. I repented. I was baptized in Jesus' name, and I was filled with the Holy Ghost in Minnesota. And so that's where the change was. It wasn't, everybody's different, but it wasn't this life-altering thing where, like when I had the issue with my heart a couple years ago, it wasn't that. It was just me sitting around going, man, something's got to give. It's got to be more to life. And I'm going to tell you this. It has been the absolute best decision of my life. Absolutely, hands down. Amen. No questions. People ask me every day, how are you happy? How you don't have bad days, man? Listen, because I have a choice. I have a choice to be happy. There is a choice for me to succumb to what's going on around me and hate, or to just love. And so I hope I answered your question, cuz. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you answered my question. Well, can I go to each one of my brothers and just ask them a question?
Absolutely. The show is now officially Megatron.
Mike, man, your strength always impressed me, because you've gone through so much, in life, and you're the only one here, honestly, who lost both parents and a brother. So you've lost so much, but yet you remain strong. How is What is it that gets you through the day? What is it that keeps you built up?
Who that's for me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Wasn't for
Y'all
me.
breaking up real bad. I can't get up.
Yeah, Mike is
Repeat that,
freezing up a
son.
little bit.
Y'all break.
Can you hear me?
I think we're freezing up on Mike a little bit on his end. So
Okay, let
Say I
me.
can't. Y'all breaking up. I can't hear y'all.
yeah.
All right, you good now? I was just saying. Can you hear me now? Are you good,
It's
Mike?
it's breaking up real bad on my end. Sometimes.
All
Okay,
right.
he'll
This
come
let
back.
He's
sorry
gone.
everybody. Let's
Uh,
move on to Meech. Mike.
Meech, man. I can't thank you a million times when you saved my life. You know what I'm saying? Me standing here today, like I was so mad that you weren't in my wedding that I was like, if there was anybody in my life I wanted in my wedding, it was you. And I still love you, my brother, but I definitely want to ask you because I came to you a couple of months ago. I went to your mom's house, and she would let me know that you were feeling a little down about the loss of your brother, and I was hoping to be there for you, but you weren't home. So I just want to know, how are you dealing with that to today, because we lost him during COVID, and I was just there when I spoke to Fonzie, and every time I see Fonzie, he was always cool. Hey, what's up, Tron? And to know that we lost him to COVID really angered my soul. But I wanted to know how my brother was doing, and how do you cope with it each day?
Um, it's hard every day. It's hard.
Yeah,
I had a lot of anger in the
yeah,
beginning, a lot of anger because we took him to the hospital
yeah.
and they diagnosed him with COVID. And the first thing they said was, go home. If it gets worse, call us. Doesn't understand what that means. If it gets worse, what do you mean call you? Sent him home. And I was just about to go to work. And my mom called me and said that his face was blue. His mouth, the inside of his mouth was blue. So we video chat, and the inside of his mouth was blue. His teeth was blue. And I knew a couple of nurses at a hospital, and I called them. And the one nurse started crying, like, rush him to the hospital. He's not getting any oxygen. So when we took him to the hospital, he was fine. I mean, they put him on oxygen. He was fine. He that night we left, and I went to work. I dropped my mom off. I went to work, and I went back to the hospital to see him. And when I went back, they had him on the ventilator. And I don't understand how it turned that bad in less than 12 hours. And they never called us, nothing. And they just made that decision themselves to do that. And I was so angry. I wanted to reach out to all of y'all, but I couldn't. I couldn't. Y'all don't know how angry I was. I wanted to hurt people. I wanted to do things that I regret for saying now. And on a couple occasions, I almost did. And my mom had to talk to me and try to calm me down. And that was the day, Norman, I called you and I like, my mom wants you, when he did pass, to that helped me a lot when you did what you did for him. That helped me a lot. Because even now he's buried here in Jersey, where I can go and see him every Sunday. I go and see him every Sunday. Without it, I don't miss a day. I go and see him. I take him flowers. He was artistic and he loved He-Man, and you remember Ninja Turtles all the time. And I feel this casket with all of that stuff. And you know, some days me and my partner could be in the car. My sergeant, as I was telling Norman, we just found out my sergeant got stage 4 cancer, and now he's in the hospital. And we was dealing with him yesterday, and it's hard because sometimes I do want to talk to y'all guys, but it's so hard that I can't, because I just break down crying. Some days I don't want to be here. Some days I pray to God that I can see him now because I miss him so much. And,
Right.
Every day he would call me and Michi, I love you, Michi, be safe. You know, and when I got sick, and we didn't know at the time that I had COVID. I caught COVID first. And everybody, went to this person house to help them, and found out he had COVID, and me and my partner got COVID, and I didn't even know. I was so bad. I was so sick. They thought I was gonna die. And every day he would call me and pray for me and talk to me. And when I was a kid, I promised my mom that I would always look out for them. I will always look out for them and take care of them and keep them safe. And I'm so angry because I couldn't save him. I couldn't keep him safe. And, it's just every day it's hard. Every day is hard. My son, him and my little brother were so close. And with my other nephew, they were so close every day. I didn't know they played on their PlayStation every day. They would talk for hours. And now my son, he doesn't feel Christmas anymore. He doesn't feel the love for Christmas. I don't feel the Christmas spirit anymore. Everything that I did for Christmas is for him. He made Christmas fun for me to go and find the toys he wanted, to do everything that he did. When you, Tron, had introduced me to my wife, when y'all was going to school. And when we had our little problems, my brother, I didn't know, he told her that, we was our little trial and tribulation, and we'll work through everything. And I don't know, some days it's just hard, and days it's real hard to deal with. It's so difficult to deal with. And my mom, next week is his anniversary. And that's what's bad, next week. And I remember I was at work in the precinct. I just left the hospital, and I was sitting there talking to my sergeant. We were just about to go out. And he was like, "You want to get something to eat?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not hungry. I just saw my brother." I finally went in to talk to him. I went into the room to actually talk to him, tell him I love him. I know you're going to make it through this. I know you're going to get through this. And they called and were like, "Hey, your little brother, we need you to come to the hospital." So what happened? Just come to the hospital. And the next call I got from my mom while I was in the car, that he died. And then when we get to the hospital, they won't let us see him. They treated my little brother like he was a monster, the things they did to him. And I just wanted to see my little brother, to kiss him, to say goodbye to him. And they wouldn't let me. And that's what hurts the most. I was able to say goodbye to my father, but not my little brother. And I know I shouldn't say this, but I hate all doctors. I hate them all. Because the one thing that meant the most in my life is gone. And I feel that they took him, because it's not that they didn't even try to help him. That's just the feeling I have. They didn't do anything for him.
Right.
And I'm sorry, everyone. But
no, you don't.
You don't gotta be sorry, brother. Just get that out. Man. Just know we your brothers, and we here. And I always want to make sure you fine,
sorry,
brother. I just want to make sure we're here for you, man.
Y'all the only brothers I have left.
Yeah. So
it's just y'all guys. I don't have anyone else.
I purposefully wanted to talk about this, and I'm so glad that I asked my brothers to participate, because it's therapeutic. It's needed. And
what's wrong with this thing?
We need to be able to say what we need to say. We need to be able to have the emotions that we need to express, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna give Meech an opportunity to come back on in a second. But while we're doing that, Michelle Reed, yes, I choose joy. And so thank you for joining us tonight. Deborah, it's okay to cry. Crying is an outlet, right? To let go of frustration. Hey Meech, we got you back here. I'm just reading some of the comments from the folks that are watching with us. And sister of mine, Katina Hay, we went to middle school together, to be exact. And in middle school, we reconnected back on Facebook and everything. But I hear what you're saying, sis. And if you're asking for any suggestions to find joy this season, and I know you're talking about your little sister having sickle cell, it's the same thing I want to say to Meech right now, because when I listen to people talk about Christmas and being specific about Christmas, I hear the thoughts. I hear the thoughts. I hear what Christmas means to so many different people, right? And like I said, I'm just a person that believes fully in Jesus Christ. And so if to answer your question, any suggestions on finding joy for the season? And the first suggestion that I would have is wrap your joy around this season for the actual reason for the season. See, man has taken it and we've made it about the gifts. We've made it about the toys. We've made it about the certain different things that the media pushes and how we celebrate it. Now, don't stop giving gifts. We don't want that, because it's still a symbolization of us celebrating Christ's birthday, right? Don't stop that, but don't be afraid to find out the true reason for the season, because what that'll do is it'll shift your perspective on how you look at the season of Christmas, as opposed to looking at who's not here maybe, or who might be sick, or who might be going through. And that's when the family, like times like right now, when you get together, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to get around the people that you love and reminisce and talk about those individuals, because that's how we know that, yes, physically they're not here, but their memories live on. And for your sister, I'm definitely praying for her. When I see comments like this, Sister Katina, believe that her name or your name is going on the prayer list, because it's important that we pray for one another. All right. Demetrius, she also had a question for you, but I'm gonna come back to that. Shelby says she's sending her condolences to all of us. Man, I love the comments, right? Keep them coming, right? Absolutely, right. It's okay to get in touch with your comments. And Love Destiny said, never apologize for your feelings or your emotions. It's okay. And that's what we want, just be you unapologetically. I can only give you what I have, right? And that's my friendship, my brotherhood, the love of Christ that's within me. I'm going to continue to push that as far as how I show my love. Because here's one thing. It's hard for somebody to say that they believe and they live for Christ and then they mean to you. I have to show you the love of Christ. And if I was there right now, Meech, man, I give you a big old hug. I might even kiss you on your forehead, man, because I love you that much, man. And I love it. My brother-in-law, Tyrone Davis, I don't know if you remember him or not, Meech, but Tyrone, he says his condolences, right? And look what he said, and I agree with him. You should look into speaking with the therapist. Tyrone, thank you for saying that, right? He's saying that he just lost his mom, and when they were putting things together, putting her in hospice, right? It also came with a counselor, basically, to help the family out, right? And he said he would have never had done it on his own because he thought that it was a weak thing to do, but it's not. And then he says, "We love you, bruh." And then he said, and we mourn with you. And so for my Christian friends that are out there that might be thinking the same thing, that, oh, we don't do Black people and certain people, we don't do therapists and we don't do psychology. man, you better talk to somebody. If you're going through something, I would rather you talk to somebody that understands and completely is able to help you through whatever it is that you're dealing with than not. Don't keep it bottled up inside. You got to let that thing out. You got to be able to speak to it. You got to be able to emote about it, you know. And just like everybody said in the chat line, that nothing to be embarrassed about, nothing to be, you know, sorry about. It's how you feel. But now we got to learn to move to the next phase, right? Part of those scriptures that I gave you is talking about it's the opposite of each end, right? It's a time to be born, and there's a time to die, right? So it's the opposite end of the spectrum. And so when we deal with life like this, we have to eventually get to the point that, how am I going to continue to make it? There's a reason that you're still here, Meech. There's a reason that Tron is still here. There's a reason that I'm still here. Because I can guarantee you, being in law enforcement, there were so many times you should have been gone and didn't know that it was about to happen, and God stopped it. I know when I was laying in that hospital with my heart and them telling me that I wasn't going to make it, I should have been gone, right? And I'm sure Tron has had some experiences in his life too where we could all say that. But now that you're here, what are you going to do with that life? You're needed here. You're needed here so that we can move forward in helping the next generation. And I hear what you're saying, Meech, about sometimes you don't want to be here. But then I also heard you talk about your daughter, and I heard you talk about your son. They need you. They need you to help them when they start going through tough times in their lives. Tron, you're needed for your nieces and your nephews. We're needed, you know, to be able to push the boundaries sometimes, right? And we have to be able to push past that. Look, Deborah says that her girlfriend was preparing for a wedding, but now she's preparing for a funeral because her fiance just died of COVID on Thursday.
Wow.
Man, that's
sorry.
tough.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry to hear that, Deborah. Please give that family our condolences. And man, that's tough, you know. And I know sometimes it's hard to say, it's hard to believe when we start talking about God sometimes and saying, you know, oh, God don't make mistakes, and he doesn't. But there's a time and place, like the scripture said, to talk about certain things and bring certain things up. But know this, man, know that you're needed, know that you're wanted, know that you are not here by mistake. God has given us people to have in our lives to make our lives complete. And because we know and we can read his word and we know that there is an expiration date, there is. So we cherish the time. Imagine if everybody truly cherished the time with the people that they loved every single day. Would it be easier? Probably not. You would still have the sting and the pain of losing someone. But man, oh man, you would just create more memories, you know. And I agree, Tyrone. Tyrone says again, he said, nobody can feel your pain, but they can give outlets for you to deal with, right? Which is also why it's another reason why I don't say things like, I know what you're going through, because the truth of the matter is I don't. We could lose the same person, our fathers, our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, our children, in the same manner. But the truth is, we still don't know what each other is going through. My relationship with my brothers are different than your relationship with your brother. So your feeling is totally different than what someone else is feeling. You may be able to identify with what a person went through, but the feeling is different. And Meech, man, I want to tell you, man, I appreciate you for being transparent, but we got you, bro.
Yeah.
We got you, man. Man, we ain't nothing but a
Thank
phone
you.
call. We ain't nothing but a phone call away. And the truth of the matter is, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm in Secaucus, New Jersey right now. So if you want to get together before I leave Jersey and get a hug in, you know what I'm saying, I'll come to you, bro. So I just want you to know that, man, you're loved, man. And
Thank you.
man,
Thank you.
no question, no doubt, man. It's tough for all of us, man. It is at different times, and what we go through and how we move through life, you know. But to the folks at home, we got to figure out a way to identify when people are not doing well, because we come to a family gathering and people are happy and they ready to party and do different things. But sometimes you got to be able to look at somebody and tell that they're going through, and maybe you just walking over and giving a hug and giving a high five or whatever, just something, making sure that they know that they're there, that they're needed, that they're loved, and also understanding that everybody does not feel about the holidays that everyone else does. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tron,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk, your wife didn't know Corey,
Right.
right? Right. What do you say about your brother to your wife or to people that didn't know him? How do you describe him?
Uh, uh, I would say the Robin to my Batman because I was the oldest, so he had to be Robin. But I don't know. He was the only one I know for a fact. Whenever I dated someone, they had to meet my brother. Of course,
Right.
he will let me know the if I should date that person or not. His what he thought probably was the only time I considered, and she was the only person that I dated seriously that didn't get that chance for him to vet her. So, but I just speak glowingly of my brother, of what he used to do, and he was a better man than me because there was a lot of times he taught me how to be a better man, and in a sense, like when he first started dating his daughter mom, and he took on another family, and even in a young age, he just seems like he was showing me how to be better.
Right.
And I didn't see that, but I was young. I was like, man, I don't want no girls with no kids. He didn't that didn't mind him. He was bigger and better than that. And
Right.
so he showed me how to love. Um, and that's just who he was. And he always spoke his mind. I remember when our dad came to see us after 25 years. I didn't have the strength to tell this man off, but my baby brother cursed him out and threw him out. So it was just like, like, he showed me how to be strong. He showed me how to, so it was just like, um, a lot of the times, everything I wasn't, he was,
Right.
and I don't know. Sometimes, I can't put him in a box or describe him to people. You just had to be there, and
Right.
only my closest brothers, you guys, knew who he was,
Right.
and shoot, Norm, you and him hanging out New Year's Eve. I wasn't even there. Like, you and Norm, like you guys, it's everything Corey did. If somebody had something to be like, it's Corey. He just spoke his mind and who he was, and he wasn't afraid to do that, no matter who it was.
Right.
So
Absolutely. You
so
know, so I asked you that question on purpose, right? Because the truth of the matter is, you can't talk about Corey and not laugh. I don't care who you are.
you
If you
can't.
knew him, you can't talk about him and not laugh. Meech,
That's true.
when I listen to you, Meech, talk about your brother, you started reminisce, right? We automatically reminisce to those good times. And so we need to hold on to those things. We need to hold on to those memories. That's what's going to help us. That's what's going to help us get through the next one, right? Because now when you see mom, Meech, right, you got to be strong for mom now, right? Because now all of a sudden mom emotes differently, and so you want to be there for her, right? And so even though you're dealing with it in your own way, Tron, you're the same way, right? You gotta deal with mom in different way, and then your other brother, right? Keith, everybody's different. They just mourn different, and they look at things in a different light. And so just hold on to those memories, hold on to those good times. All right. Folks are sending y'all virtual hugs. Hey, everybody out there that's still on, if y'all enjoying this conversation, if this is helping you, let me see some hearts, let me see some thumbs up. Just put them out there, let them see it. We have to be able to do this. We have to be able to move forward. Katina, I really appreciate you tonight, Katina. She's talking to you expressly, Meech. She said, "You're not alone. He was and is your joy. Remember him. At some point, his memory will echo your joy. I believe that God works this way." And I agree with her wholeheartedly. Tyrone is like, he's in New York and he got an ear. He also said a cigar, but we ain't gonna promote no cigars on Building Bridges. but I love you, and I know I hear what you're saying, right? Whenever you need it, Meech. So, and then he said, if you want his info, hit me up. I got you, man. I got it.
All right, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, my I want, she's my cousin-in-law, but I can call her my sister-in-law too, because Tranya, you really like my brother. But your wife is on here, and she said it's not how he speaks of his brother. It's his action, making sure his nieces and nephews are taken care of, loved, and know that they matter. Always, always going to his grave, saying his name. Absolutely. So that's a great thing when your wife knows you and can speak about you in a certain way, particularly about Corey, for somebody that she never had an opportunity to meet, right? So I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I know we're having a good time. Meech, I want to ask you, do you have a question for me or Tron? I don't want you to walk out of here and not have a question. If you don't, you don't. But if you do, go ahead and give it to us.
Well, Tron, the question I wanted to ask you, Tron asked you already. That was that. Okay. But I did want to apologize to Tron for missing his wedding.
You're good, Papa. But I love you, dog.
No, I love you. But me and Jody, that was at the time we was really going through some things, and we supposed that came down, and then something happened, and then with COVID and everything, and as I said, I just put like all my time into work. Like I'm off today and tomorrow, I'm going in for overtime because that's my out, of everything and dealing with everything is working through everything. Right. Kids are grown. My son is 30 now. Norm, they 30.
I know. You ain't got to tell.
Wow.
And my daughter, your godson, 30 is good.
30, wow.
30, yeah, making more money than me too. Working for New Jersey Transit. So,
hey, that's what we want, right? We want our kids to have better and do better than us, right?
Yes.
So that's okay. But that's what's up. Hey, listen, I appreciate y'all, brothers. I appreciate Mike jumping on as well. He had some technical difficulties, but it's all good, man, for us to be able to come together like this and talk. I appreciate y'all jumping on here. Typically, my broadcasts are on Thursday. Like I said, I'm in Jersey. I'm working, and so I just wanted to do this because the Lord pressed it on my heart, and I'm glad we did. I'm glad we was able to come here, talk, and based on the comments, and I'm glad we did, because in order for you to get what you need people. You need to be able to express yourself. You have to. Appreciate you, Miss Destiny. All right. Appreciate you. She said many blessings and much love to us all.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all, brothers. I love y'all. If y'all need me for anything, y'all already know what it is. Give me a call. Give me a shout. Y'all know I'm there. Except if y'all moving. I ain't doing it no more.
Yeah, you gonna help me move again, cuz?
No more. Man,
well, I'm not like y'all guys. I only moved once. So I moved to Jersey and that was it.
We ain't doing it. We ain't moving. See this old body? We ain't lifting no more couches, bro. We done. Look, man, I love y'all. All right.
Love you, dog.
Love you too. All right,
love you. All right,
be safe. All right.